Hi, and welcome to my Learn and Grow Snappy Chats. I'm super excited to be here again. It's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Sydney time. Now, I'm Christine Bell. I'm a customer strategist. We're not going to be talking about me today. This is all about learning and growing together in business. As a small business owner, what I've found in the last 8-9 years is that it can get really, really lonely, especially if you're a one-man band, two-man band, or even three. It can get quite lonely, and there are so many things that we often have to learn that we didn't know already. So for me, finding a community on LinkedIn and networking in Sydney has been absolutely the most important thing I can do, because together we can learn and grow. And with this in mind, I want to introduce my first guest, or my guest today, not my first guest. I've been doing this for a year, but my guest today is the beautiful, beautiful Susannah Dawn, and I'm going to bring her on now, and we're going to be talking about how we can all learn and grow together in business. So with this in mind, let's bring Susannah on. Welcome, Susannah.
Hey there. Let's see, it's morning for you, right?
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. Sydney time on Wednesday, and it's Tuesday for you, isn't it? So where are you based?
I'm in Portland on the West Coast. And I have to
Beautiful.
differentiate because there's two Portlands. And I've
Oh, is
lived near
there?
both of them.
Oh,
Yeah, there's one
wow.
in Maine, Portland, Maine.
Oh, well, you're meant to be a Portland lady then, that's for sure. Now, please introduce yourself a little bit to people who are here today.
My name's Susannah Dawn, and my focus is on speaking, helping companies, and really it's a focus of moving beyond boxes, because my whole life, it's been being told who I am, what I'm supposed to do, and it doesn't work for me. It's putting me in boxes. I don't fit. I know I don't fit. And I know there's a lot of people that it's the same way. So being able to talk about these boxes, and especially for women, how to move beyond them is where my focus is.
I love that. And we're going to tap into that a bit more. I think that is a big thing, especially when you're stepping out of working in a career and you actually want to work for yourself. It's all about stepping out of that box. Before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to the beautiful House of Community, which is where I met you. We got Mike on the line. We got Isabel here. We got Dr. New here. Amazing. Thank you guys for being here. And we absolutely love the House of Community. I've met so many wonderful people like yourself through that community. So if you don't know it, find out about it. But let's delve into the challenge. Yeah, I know you talked about, which is you're really, passionate about, is to step out of those boxes and really come back to who we truly are. And I definitely found that when I was in my career, as much as I enjoyed what I was doing, I was partly because of my low self-esteem at the time. I was always trying to fit in. I was always trying to be what I thought people wanted me to be in business. Yeah. And it pretty much drove me to burnout, because I didn't know myself. I lost myself somewhere in it. And when I started my business, I must admit, it did take me a while to figure out what was going on, that burnout was happening, what to do about it, and really come on the journey to find myself, which is the biggest thing of my business, has been my personal development journey. It's about finding who I am and reconnecting with who I am truly. And I think this is what you're all about. Is that true?
It's a lot of times we already know who we are. It's just we spend too much time and energy trying to fit a box or to be something other than. And when we try to fit in, it just doesn't work. Because if we're not in a place that we can be our authentic self, where we can be who we were made to be, where we're not afraid to say, I'm neurodiverse, or I'm not from here, I'm from another place, or anything that we spend so much energy hiding from others because we don't know how they're going to treat us, how they might treat, when the reality is everybody's that way. Everybody just wants to stop hiding, but that doesn't mean that they have to promote everything. It just means they're no longer wasting energy hiding, and they have energy to put into whatever they're working on, or in business, or in their family, in their life.
That is such truth in that. And I think for me, what I found was this thing of, partly because of the low self-esteem, I was so focused on what other people might think of me, or what I thought they might want me to be, or what I thought they might want me to create or do, or etc. And I was wasting so much time that I completely forgot about me. Yeah.
Yep.
And that was hiding. And also there wasn't any energy to actually take care of myself. And I think with that, we lose that ability to self-care, don't we?
There's no place for self-care at that point. It's like another one is imposter syndrome. Because when you feel like an imposter, and I know what this one is like as well because I've lived it, you're wasting energy hiding. You're trying to keep people from finding out why you think you're an imposter instead of realizing that everybody kind of has that feeling and there's no reason to have it. Look at how you got to where you are, follow the red thread, as it were, and you'll see that you don't belong where you are now. You belong 2 or 3 places down the road.
Yeah. And when we are disconnected to ourselves, which is what I think you're talking about, we disconnect to ourselves. It's really hard if we're building a business where we are the main person, we are the main show, so to speak, to then connect with others, isn't it? Because if we're not disconnected to ourselves and our business, how on earth are we going to be able to connect with others who might enjoy our true self, who might really find inspiration in who we are and how we show up, if we show up authentically, if we're ready for it, if we trust ourselves to show up authentically and have the confidence to do so.
Well, it's that trusting, but it's also, as a solopreneur, if you aren't quite trusting yourself, you've got that imposter syndrome. It may be okay meeting other people, but then trying to reach those clients and find the clients, if you don't feel like you belong there, it's going to make it a whole lot harder to reach out to people and get your clients, get the business that you're in it to do in the first place.
Yeah, because we'll be chasing the people who probably aren't quite right for us because we're showing up inauthentically. So therefore, they're not seeing our true self. So we're neither attracting the ones who would love our true self, and we're not attracting the ones that we're trying to attract because we're not our true self. So we're in a dilemma there, really. It's a no-win situation, so to speak.
And that's what imposter syndrome is. It's a no-win situation. And the other thing is, when you sit there, especially with imposter syndrome, it's also a comparison issue. So you're looking at everybody else going, well, they look like they're doing well. They look like they're doing well. When the reality is, this person that you think is doing well, they're going through a divorce. Or this person that you think is doing well, they're struggling to not go back to alcohol, or they're having issues with their neurodiversity trying to stay on track. So there's all these things everybody's dealing with, and it's so much easier if we could just let the walls go so we can let our energy focus on healing and having an environment where everybody feels safe, which means they don't have to tell everybody everything. They just connect with the people that connect with the most, the best. For me, it's my closest sisters. So
yeah. And you know what? And I think for me, I didn't realize when I started my business that it actually was the start of my personal development journey. And that was the crux of building a business that is authentic to me. And it's been a long journey. It's not something that happens overnight. It's like an onion that keeps peeling. But what I love what you're saying is this thing: if we're so focused on thinking what other people might be doing and being jealous of that and thinking they're so amazing, it stops us from absolutely seeing how amazing we are, to actually truly see our gifts, to actually truly see how we can show up in a way that feels good to us. It stops us from feeling great in ourselves and really being our best supporter, which has been the biggest learning for me, has been to go from that critical judger inside my head who was looking at everyone else thinking, oh, how amazing they are, but judging myself, to becoming my greatest, biggest supporter.
Right. Well, and
that is a journey
too. We want to break down these walls, because another thing that's really important is belonging. And this is the way that I approach. Some people can say DEI and everything else, but to me, it really boils down to belonging. When people feel like they belong someplace, they're not spending the energy to hide something about them. It's like women don't have to feel like we're going into the workplace and we have to wear more masculine attire to fit in and to grow, when our best energy may be a dress that just flows all over the place, or having that blouse that's just bright colored And it's like, this is what gives us energy. We need to be able to do the things that give us energy. That's where belonging comes in. When you belong, your energy flows.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is it's belonging first and foremost with ourselves, but then as we belong with ourselves, we start building our network of people that we truly feel a connection with, where we feel like we belong together as a, as people, that are coming together because we share
Right.
values, we share a story, we share empathy, we share the way we show up. And I love everything you're talking about, but there's a huge step from a lot of us being in that space of not really trusting ourselves, not really loving ourselves, not really being ready to show up. So how do we go? And I know you've been on this journey. How do we step out of our boxes? How do we come to become ourselves? What is your advice to small business owners? Because it will help them, I believe, very much. It helps us actually attract the right business and become successful in business too, which is what we all really want.
Well, when you think about the boxes that we get stuck in,
Mm.
oftentimes it's a case where we know what we're stuck in. We know that we're stuck,
Yeah.
but we don't know how to get out of it. What we need is to ignite that awareness of, yes, this is what's holding me back. This is the box. It's being an introvert and having difficulties contact people. It's not sure who to trust because you've been hurt by somebody before. And when you know what that box is, then you start looking at who's got control, because you obviously don't. If you're in the box, you have no control. So the question is, who's in control? Is there a person on the outside who you just defer everything to and what they say goes? Or is it your own fear? And always remember that fear is a liar. This is not the fear that's there to protect you in a dangerous situation. It's like, this is the fear that thinks it's protecting you by keeping you in the box. It's telling you lies about what will happen if you step outside the box. If you look through the cracks, its web is kind of a translucent web with a grain of truth, so that when you look through the cracks, the translucent web blurs everything outside so that you only see that grain of truth. And that grain of truth is created from your own experience, designed to keep you in the box.
Yeah.
But if you can understand that it's not the truth, that yes, this is true, but there are other things that are true, look past the lies, then you can see that you can go out and it's okay. There will still be some scary things, but it's okay. And then with that awareness, then you can start taking those steps. You can take the first step. And that step doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be small. It's just, it has to be. And once you take the first step, then you can take the second and the third, and be able to shift your perspective so that you're not always looking at the world from the box. Either shift it or have some work with somebody who can help you shift that perspective so that you start seeing the path. You start seeing how to get from here to there.
I love that. And I love this whole idea of, with one step at a time, we're going to build that inner confidence. We're going to get a little bit more courageous. Yeah. We're going to get a little bit more willing to, what I would call, stepping out of fear. For me, that's often linked to our ego. Yeah. From when we were childhood, we learn certain ways to become safe, to feel safe, to survive.
Right.
And as a child, that was legitimate because that was the best we could do. And so we became so good at reinforcing those patterns and those behaviors because it kind of made us feel safe. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think for me, when I learned to see fear as my inner child wanting to help me stay safe, and then learning to go, okay, let's look at my inner child. And I did get coaching. So I did get help. I highly recommend getting help. This is not an easy journey, and it's certainly a long-term journey as well. But if you find people who are going through the same, it's amazing how we can unravel it too. So I really appreciate the Council of Business because it's full of people who are going through this journey and understanding and are willing to go on this journey, wherever they're at on the journey. But for me, that was really the crux of it. It was like, okay, I can actually see and appreciate what my younger child was trying to do. But hey, hold on. I'm not that younger child anymore. I am me. And if I'm not here to live my life fully, what on earth am I doing here on earth? We only get this life as far as we know, or as far as we can remember. So let's make it big, let's make it great, let's step out, let's become
Well,
colorful, let's be who we truly are. And for me, that was a big shift. Is that something that you have gone through too, or what
well,
what would you
yeah, I
say
was
in
just gonna
terms of?
say, it's like I've had this journey. It's not that I know it. I've lived this journey.
Yeah,
When I
yeah,
talk about it from the age from early childhood, things happened to me that basically put me in that box. I and when you're in the box, in my case, it was like that was the end of my self-confidence. That was the end of believing in myself because I was being told this is what I'm supposed to be.
yeah,
If I had an idea, I wanted to be an astronomer. And my dad's like, there's no money in it. You can't advance. You need to do something that you're going to be able to be set in. It's like, I don't want to do construction because that was him.
yeah,
Well, I ended 20 years doing construction while I was also a cavalry officer. So it's like I had to
yeah,
do both of them. And it
yeah,
wasn't until about 5 years ago now that it really started to change where things happened. And for me, faith is a foundation. So I
yeah,
went to the Bible looking for reasons not to start this journey that I was about to. And all I got was I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And then doors started opening, things started happening. And as I entered 2022, I had already gone through 2 years of my own reinvention. And the thing is, reinvention is going to be different for everybody, but we
yeah,
all do it. It's like I talk about the forest reinvents itself seasonally. You go back to
yeah,
school, you move across country, you move across town, you change a job. This is all reinvention. And you do something that you basically say, okay, I'm done with this persona and I'm going to do a change. That's all part of reinvention. And that's what I went through coming into the last couple of years. And it's like, I'm done with boxes. I came in saying, no more boxes,
yeah,
but this world can't understand that. So it became move beyond boxes. So it's like,
yeah.
yes, you're in the box. We're done with it. Let's move beyond it so you can be your authentic self.
And I love that because the world does like putting in boxes. And even in marketing, we sometimes have to put ourselves in somewhat of a box of what we do because people get overwhelmed. So they kind of need to hang their hat on something when it comes to us. But what I love what you're saying around the whole reinvention, I remember reading your post about the whole remembering the seasons. Yeah. And the same goes for us personally, but also in business. Yeah. So when things go down, it feels like winter and we're like, is this going to happen? Is this going to be successful? Am I going to go down with this, or am I going to grow with this? I think what you're saying is so applicable. It's so important to apply that idea as well. Is that reinvention happens everywhere in ourselves, and especially if we are the business and it's our business, what happens to us will inevitably also manifest in our business. Yeah. So when we go through an reinvention, our business has to as well.
Right. And it's like, I mean, talking about the forest, that's quite frankly part of everything I talk about. That is where my move beyond boxes was ignited,
Okay.
was that first time that Athena came around a corner and was gliding towards me. And by the time I see the face of this owl 6 feet in front of me and crouched down so she can glide over my head, that was the beginning of a connection that we crossed paths a handful of times over the next 10 days. I have selfies with her. I talked with her. But most importantly, when I walked in the forest, I no longer was focused on the path, on the trail. I'd keep one eye down just because you don't want to trip, but the other eye is up and looking around. I'm looking for her, but looking for her and looking for the other lady guardians, as I call them. You also see the forest, you see the changes. And this is what we go through ourselves. We go through these changes. Is keep your head up, look around. Yes, keep one eye kind of on the trail, know where the path is so you don't slip, but you've got to be looking around because opportunity pops up in the most amazing places. And it's going to be someplace that you would have never looked if you only keep focusing on the path on the ground.
I love that. And what a huge analogy and metaphor for business as well, and our own reinvention as well. And wow, I had goosebumps when you talked about the owl. For me, that was definitely something bigger. There was the universe. It was spiritual, yeah. And we all get those signs if we're ready to look for them and ready to see them and ready to accept that there's something bigger in this world than just us humans, yeah. We have a soul. We have something else. We have a mission here on earth. And it's our job to let ourselves go and start following those signs and look up and see what is out there that we can engage with positively, which also helps us stay positive and not go into depression. I believe, those healthy walks in the forest, looking up and seeing nature around you. Yeah. We can either get into self-pity, or we can actually look at the wonder of the world and go, hey, I'm here to create something. Don't know what it is, but let's go for it. And let's feel into it and trust my heart.
Let's go for it. And let's find the other people that we can connect with and make it bigger. Because that's the other thing. We don't have to do this alone, and we shouldn't do it alone. I mean, listen to CJ, listen to others. And I'm right there with her of how do you find those people that you can connect with and the message resonates so that you can be lifting each other up, and you find ways to work together. And just like for me, I want to see Move Beyond Boxes and Shine explode all over the place. I want to take it to the stage. Speaking on it is so easy for me because I've lived it. And to walk into companies and basically help them break down the barriers so that people feel safe and they feel like they belong, and thereby they are themselves, and they've moved. The whole place has moved beyond the boxes so that everybody can shine authentically. And that's kind of that's really the last piece of it, is authentically.
I love that.
It's why I say I'm not what I used to be, yet I am who I've always been. That's our authentic core. All
shining
along.
through in new ways. And I love that, I love that. And it's exactly why I started these Snappy Chat. It's like, this can be a really lonely ride. So we can find a community, when we're in business, and that we connect with, that believes in us, that we can grow together with, because we can go further together. Getting creative input from other people is so, so important, rather than trying to do it all ourselves. And I just want to touch on what Tanya, I just love what she's saying here. There's definitely a global movement towards authenticity and belonging, and it's transformational.
Exactly.
To that, what would you say? And I think the House of Business and Mike Aschenbrowner is definitely leading that too.
Yeah, I see CJ's here too. It's self-awareness. Everything I talk about is the importance, and the way I put it is, I'm done with sparks as well. I mean, you can try and spark something, spark awareness, spark this, spark that. Screw it, because there's no guarantee that a spark will take. But if you ignite, that's like that bolt of lightning hitting the tinder and starting the fire. So
I have to say something right now. I cannot believe you just used those words, and Mike will testify to this. Yeah, my business name until now has been Spark It. Interestingly enough, I have decided to let it go. I'm rebranding. Claudia is helping me with the look and feel. I can't wait for what she's coming up with. I've already seen some of it. It's actually some of my own drawings that she's using, my own art that she's using for my logo, which is beautiful. I'm super excited for it. And guess what? We've been working on the tagline. And Sierra actually helped me with this as well. She came up with the word ignite. So I'm like, oh my goodness, you're talking. So I'm rebranding to Christine Bell, and it's all about insights that is igniting, brand and business growth.
And that's why I say ignite your awareness. Once it's ignited, off we go.
I love it. And
steps without it.
I absolutely love it, and it's a great place to end because we're running out to 25 minutes now, and it's been a wonderful chat, and I could keep talking with you. I'd love for people to be able to reach out with you. Obviously, I put your LinkedIn here, but can you please, if there's anything you want to share, how people can find you, how to reach out with you, anything you want to promote? I know you guys are writing books at the moment, which is amazing. You got like 27 authors with CJ and Mike and everyone, and Dr. New as well.
Right. So I'm on LinkedIn. I have a website that's susannahdawnwriter.com. So it's all one word. And books. Like, these are my solo books.
Oh, wow. You are definitely the author to go to.
This is the Reinvention memoir that just came out, Faith of the
Wow.
Butterfly. But then there's, when it comes to this series, the Armor of God series, this really is a story version of what it means to understand who you are and then move beyond those boxes to shine as your authentic self. So it's like when I wrote it, I didn't know I was doing that. And then I look at it now, it's like, yeah, this is, and
Wow.
with CJ, Beyond Boundaries it becomes my 5th anthology since last July. And it's my, I think, 4th with CJ that we've been on it together. So of all my anthologies, we've been together on 4 out of my 5. And then I have my live stream.
You guys are powerhouses. Wow, amazing. And you got a live stream too.
I've got the live stream. It's on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which for Mike is the real time, not that Eastern time. But hey, he's actually on with me tomorrow. And then because of the book, I do have some Friday shows through the end of March, just because we got 27 authors. And for me to be able to have a show where I can bring an author on and have a conversation, I'll take it, because I never know where those conversations are going.
But that's the most magic part of it. Today, before we started, I said, what do you want to talk about? And you said, let's see. And that's exactly what I did. And what a wonderful conversation. I appreciate your time so much. Feel free to put anything in the links that you want to share with people so they can easily find your books, etc. We want to promote the hell out of ourselves, because why shouldn't we? We are here. It's a big world. People can't remember a thing. So we don't have the budget. So I believe in promoting ourselves. It's part of marketing. There's no shame in that. And I appreciate the Hounds of community. They're all on here today. I also saw another friend, Jackie, here, but amazing community. Thank you so much for everyone showing up and all your valuable insights and support. There's a lot of support for you, Susannah. There's a lot of love for you and for everything you said today. So I appreciate you sharing all your wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too for just opening up and letting me come on. It's beautiful.
Of course,
I
anytime.
love talking with you.
Exactly. We had a conversation about, was it like a half a year ago, maybe longer,
Probably.
maybe 9 months. And it was just like instant. I just love chatting to you and hearing about you and learning your story. And it's amazing how we can find commonalities with people from around the world, from different cultures, different backgrounds. And yet, if we're heart-centered, we have so much in common. It's not about where we're from and our background. It's about who we are.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. And bye, everyone. And thank you for showing up today.
Bye.